Alright guys, well here we're going to do a teardown on an Acura MDX. It's a 2003. It's a BGHA transmission. I have another transmission over here on the bench, and I got to tear this one down to get the parts ordered. And we're probably going to do the same thing to the other one, or we're going to do them one at a time. I just hope that my audio comes out alright. I know that that's been a big issue. The fluorescent lights, the ballast, I guess they act up on the audio. Anyways, I turned my fan off. We're gonna go ahead and start tearing this thing down real quick. All right, getting everything ready here. As always, we'll remove everything from the outside. Here we see the cooler return. From the cooler return filter is going into the top of the gear here. And actually you take this off and you fill your transmission through this hole right here. And then you have the return that goes on top of the differential. And this one actually has cooler lines that go to the cooler. Some models have a heat exchanger here. They call it Honda calls it a fluid warmer. But it's basically your serpentine cooler. Anyways, this one has a cooler. That's a good plus on this unit, because you can actually add an external cooler, and it'll be better that way. Anyways, let's go ahead and start with this unit. Everything external. We have 4 shift solenoids. We have the torque converter clutch PWM or linear solenoid here. We have our A and B linear solenoids. We have 2 pressure switches. We have a 3rd clutch pressure switch and the 4th clutch pressure switch down here. Of course, our cooler return filter, another speed sensor. We have 2 speed sensors. This is the main shaft speed sensor. This is the counter shaft speed sensor. This is not the filler tube, but it would be considered like a dipstick, you know, where the dipstick goes in. This is how you check the fluid. Let's go. There's some wiring harness that goes through connects on this connector. Transmission range sensors down here. Let's go ahead and take this off, because this is going to be in our way when we flip this transmission over. It's a 17mm socket. Alright. Let's start removing things off of this thing. Cooler return. Cooler fittings, banjo fittings, keeps your washers in place. Alright, let's go ahead and take this one. On some models, the one on the cooler return, the one that goes on top of the differential, some of them have a real long pipe that shoots the fluid straight onto the differential. Remove this 10mm. The 210s that go into the cooler return. You have the O-ring. All of these O-rings, and they do come in the kit. All of the O-rings and seals, the banjo fitting washers, all of that stuff comes in your overhaul kit, wherever you get your overhaul kit from. Move that out of the way. Let's go ahead and take this 10mm bolt off. And that'll give us access to remove our cooler lines. Let's go ahead and disconnect our 4th clutch pressure switch. Now that's our 3rd clutch pressure switch, 4th clutch pressure switch. Remove this ground. Now we want just to get this ground out of the way. Alright, we'll put it back in. And there's a lot of bolts on the external. It's actually going to take a lot longer to do the external than the internal inside the barrel of the case. Inside the case, actually. Let's remove these 2 bolts. Take this bracket off. Alright. going to go ahead and flip this thing over. It's going to be easier for me just to rotate the transmission and start getting everything off. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and remove these 2 bolts. We're going to return this bolt where it came from. Alright, here we go. It's an all-wheel drive transmission or transaxle. It is aluminum housings are very heavy. They're heavier than the regular ones. But the inside of the transmission, you're going to see I did a teardown on the Honda Odyssey video, and it's going to be almost identical. All right, continue this. I know that one's a Honda and the other's Acura. Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing for both. All right, let's get these bolts back on there. And this thing stinks really, really bad. So yeah, this is a burnt converter. The way it stinks really, really bad. All right, let's go ahead and put these bolts back on. The reason I put the bolts back on is so I won't be looking for them. There's just a lot of bolts. They're all different lengths and sizes. This is our transmission temperature sensor all the way to the bottom. Sometimes this is tricky to get out. It gets stuck. I want to get a little screwdriver on the bottom. Kind of like wiggle it and it should come out. On the rust belt, unfortunately, this sensor will break if you live where there's a lot of snow and put a lot of salt on the highways. I mean that is very common. I mean this sensor will break. Put this cover over here too. So here we have our 3rd clutch pressure switch. The 3rd clutch drum is right here. The 4th clutch drum is the one that applies also for reverse. Go ahead and take the end cover bolts off. This bracket that holds the cooler pipe. Go ahead and remove all of the bolts for the end cover. You put them all together. Third clutch and 4th clutch pressure switches. Make sure that you mark them. The colors, it's what defines the pressure. So you might want to scribe an X on only one, or whatever mark you want to mark it. I just scribed an X. You can put a happy face or whatever you want to put on them. And then we take them off. You want to put them back where they came from. On some models you will have a gray connector here, but it's usually always the brown one. It's a different pressure. Torque converter, linear solenoid, or pressure control solenoid. This is what regulates the pressure on your torque converter. In here, there's a little filter, this right here, and it has a screen on the tip. Now, some of you guys have asked me about the little acorn filter that all of a sudden you will find like a little acorn filter type of, or top of a microphone looking thing. Well, that's the filter that goes inside in this little pipe. Not all of the pipes have them. Some of the pipes that go to the inside of the transmission, some of them will have it, but not all of them. So if you find one that you don't know where it goes, it's okay. Some models don't take it, some do. Block of linear. Let's go ahead and you can see how black that thing is in there. I mean, the fluid is just pitch black. Let's go ahead and take this gasket off. Let's inspect it. It's not clogged, but I'm pretty sure that we are going to find some clogged little filters. This thing's pretty bad. Let's remove our linears. This is called a dual linears. Just pry them a little bit from down here. They will come off. And as you can see there, it has the acorn filters, looking filters. If one of these were to fall off, I just took one off. That's what it looks like. It looks like the top of a microphone. Looks like a little acorn. It's a little filter that goes on the tip. Goes on the tip of the fluid pipes. Like I said, not all of them take them, but if yours took one, if you know where it came from, go ahead and put it back on there. Let's go ahead and remove this pipe here. I've seen some transmissions without this pipe. It really doesn't affect much. It just creates like a little fountain, but make sure that you put it back on there. Don't forget. Alright, the speed sensors, we're going to leave them where they at. They're not in the way. Go ahead and take our dipstick off. Return the bolt where it came from. Take our shift solenoids off. Now the way these shift solenoids are, you have a brown one and a black one, and you can put them backwards and they will actually connect. You have to be very, very careful. The way I learned this is some roads still have black top on them, and I just remember black top. The black goes on the top. So the black solenoid goes on top, and you follow the same sequence on the top over here. You start with the brown, black, brown, black. Just pry them off. Take them out fairly easy. Bolts the same way. If you get lost with the bolts, I hope I don't forget once we get in there. I'm going to show you, it's not a trick, it's just like a more of a baseline, how to baseline your bolts. You see where they go? Alright. Man, this transmission's in the way. Go ahead and take this off. I'm going to remove the whole thing as an assembly. Take those 3 bolts off and just pry it off. And then afterwards we'll unscrew this filter. Make sure you don't lose this guide pin. You might want to actually just insert it back in there. Same thing with the bolts. The one that took the guide pin is the longest one, and then the 2 shorter ones go on the regular slots. Alright, this little bracket is going to be in our way when we get this bolt off. Let's go ahead and remove it. It's already starting to see like a regular Honda transmission. And of course that had to turn on. While the compressor turns off, I'm going to go ahead and take all of my 9/16 or 14 millimeters all the way around. Not it. There we go. All right, compressor's off. Just in time for me to take all these bolts off. Go ahead and get them out of the way. Same scenario here. We just tap it. And I'm pulling on this side on the cover while I'm tapping on it. Sometimes the gasket will hold it together. In the cover, we have the third clutch pressure accumulator. It's not a pressure switch, it's an accumulator. Take these O-rings off. Now I'm going to get this cover out of the way. This actually, sometimes it will get stuck here. Don't lose this pipe because this is what feeds the third clutch drum. And this goes right here. It goes installed right here. Let me see if I can take that off and just leave it on the transmission itself. You're going to have to kind of wiggle it a little bit. And don't poke your eye out. That's how it comes out. Let's go ahead and take this accumulator, third accumulator, piston out. Has a little snap ring. Goes like this. It takes an O-ring and the snap ring. Third clutch, third accumulator. Get this out of the way, out of here. Put it on the other bench over there. Now we can start getting the pipes out so they won't be in the way. The two on this side are the same size. There's one here on top. This is longer. Usually on a regular Honda, that's all you got. On the 4-speed, on the 5-speed, you have this one here. And this is what you got. That's what you got. Two the same, one intermediate and one long. All right. Now, on the nuts, they're directional. I'm doing this quickly. I mean, I wish I could have put the camera up here, but I'm on myself. The ones that are directional, I can see this bushings are spun on this shaft. We're going to need that shaft. Let me get this. It is very rare that you would see a shaft bushing spin like this, but here we see that we have a spun bushing on the secondary shaft here. All right, let me get my Honda socket. All right, so this is going to need bushings. This has an arrow, so the way you tighten it is going to come off. There we go, comes off. Man, this thing's locked up. Yeah, this thing's fried, man. It is fried. This one also has an arrow. Goes in the same direction. Clockwise. Clockwise. This one goes counterclockwise. Let me see, it's locked because it's in part. There we go. Well, it is locked. And oh man, it's a good thing I'm filming this one. This is going to be a real bad one. And you know what some customers say? It was working. I mean, it was working good. All of a sudden, it just stopped. I mean, we hear that all the time. I'm telling you, man, this thing stinks real bad. I'm not sure we're going to be able, if it's going to be rebuildable. We're going to go ahead, if it's tear downable, I mean, we're tear it down all the way and see how it looks like. Okay. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Let me put you guys on pause right quick. I need to find something. Okay, it's on my other toolbox. I was looking for this thing. I usually take the tip off of this one and just put it here and get this puller and then pull this drum out. Let me go up a little bit on the camera. All right. Come here, Pilgrim. Where you going? They usually don't go nowhere. Well, he came out with everything. Third clutch is, this is what's locked up. Third clutch. I'm going to see if I can get it out of here, out of the drum. Push this here. This thing's smoked, man. This thing's smoked. Come on now. Come out of here. There we go. Here's the drum. I'm surprised to see this thing in one piece. This the return spring and the retainer and the snap ring, they're always gone. Third gear frictions and steels are welded together, as you see here. You cannot separate them. This is how hot it got. This is they probably just got stuck in traffic and they just floored it, get it out of the way, or I don't know what they did, but this is what happened. If your transmission's slipping, just pull over and call the tow truck. That's the safest way to prevent this. Pull over, call the tow truck, have them pick you up. Don't try to force it. That's what happens. Alright, now I need my little tip off from this. Get out of here. Man, it is hot in here. These things get slippery when you're sweating. Alright. We're going to get this steering wheel puller. See, now the shafts turn. The shafts were not turning. Third gear was mechanically applied. Mechanically applied because it was welded together. So we do have a problem with third gear, third clutch. I think it is evident. You already saw how the frictions and steels are welded together. Come on down, come on down. Yeah, boy. Alright, go back to the magnet. So the hub is still stuck on the hub that goes here. The frictions are still stuck on it. This is actually third gear. Alright, 12 millimeter. I'm going to go ahead and take the idler gear, remove it. Bolts out, get it out of the way. The idler shaft, washer, and two bearings. Two bearings. All right. We're gonna go ahead and take our parking deal here off. Need to get a 10 millimeter wrench. Alright, let's see here. Come on. There we go. All in a day's work, man. All in a day's work. I hope you guys are enjoying this. And I hope that that's all that's wrong with it, because if there's more thing wrong with this unit, it's going to be a little pricey. Anyways, let's go ahead and take the drain plug off and see what it looks like. One more case bolt. Stuck in there, man. Wow. Man, that thing looks clean. I mean, you wouldn't have thought it was this smoked. So maybe that's a good indication that we're going to find some good shafts in there. We're going to take all the accumulators out, make sure that they are not scratched. We know that the bushing for this shaft is gone. It was all the way to the top, so the frictions for that, I hope they're not smoked like that. The bushing being walked out like that, it was probably not applying. Alright, and we tap it. You do smart taps. You gotta know how to use your hammer. This is real heavy duty right here. This is where the transfer case bolts up to, the transfer case. It's an Acura MDX all-wheel drive. So it is a 4x4. All this aluminum right here is very, very heavy. The cover's heavy. The converter housing is heavy. All right. you got to man up and pry up on it so you can get your finger up underneath there. There we go. Go ahead and push this thing over there. Reverse idler gear. This is the raise that goes on the main shaft. Make sure that you don't lose your guide pins. This one goes here. Takes 3. There's another one here. Sometimes they're stuck in the case and you can't get them out. They get rusted on there. It's fine to leave them there, but these ones, they look clean. You see that? We have a pipe right here stuck on the case. Make sure that you inspect the case that there's no pipes attached to this, because if you put it in the parts washer or well, however you're washing your parts, you're going to lose them. We see 2 together here and then 1 small. Let me take this case out of the way here right quick. We almost lost this piece right here. This goes on the idler shaft. It goes like this, and the idler gear in the middle. This is how it goes. So we took this pipe off the case, and it goes right here. See, they're both the same size. We got 3 right here on the pressure regulator. We can see the 4th clutch is smoked. This is where the bushing walked out. It's smoked. We have 1st and coast and 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Now we have 4th and 5th, and 3rd on the outside. This right here, the transfer gear, it takes a spacer. Keep it with the transfer gear, and when you're washing it, make sure that it's there. You're going to need this. If you don't have this, it's going to be rubbing on the differential, and you're going to have some hard parts damage after that. So just make sure that that spacer's there. Now right here on the fork, we're going to go ahead and remove this. Get our 10 millimeter. You want to do the little fly thing and get the bolt out. And this bolt only goes in one way. As you can see, it has threads and then it has guide. Once I take this off, I'm going to show you how it goes in there. You cannot put it backwards. Alright, let's go start taking everything apart. You want to inspect your teeth where the selector hub goes onto. This is like a manual transmission. You know, you have a fork, you have the slider. You want to make sure that your teeth on the slider are good, which they are. Take the selector hub. This almost never gets damaged, but the fork and the slider do. Go ahead and take this gear out of the way. Kind of keep everything together. Now we can start taking our shafts out. Don't lose it. I usually get this bearings like this and keep them together. Put them in there. It's actually upside down. As you saw, I flipped the gear upside down, and the one that goes on the other side, I just keep it like that. Slide it to the side. Push the shaft out. This shaft still has the bushing in it. You have a one-way clutch here. You disassemble this and you clean it up. Inspect the sprag or the one-way clutch. If it's good, you can reuse it. If it's bad, then you need to put a new one in. Which I seldom see them damaged. Forward clutch is good. Coast clutch is good. second clutch is in good shape. Go ahead and start getting this part out of the bench, because we're going to disassemble the accumulators. So far looks promising. Alright, main shaft. Main shaft is the one that has the, go ahead and take the shaft off. Get fifth gear all out, and fifth gear is going to be burned up. That's good. Keep them together. Now we're going to do the same thing here. That's why it was locked up. This clutch pad here is smoked like third gear. The snap ring does not want to comply. Let's see if we can make it, get this thing out of here. We're probably going to be able to get the snap ring out, but we're still going to be having an issue getting it out of the drum, which it did okay. Look at that. Smoke, man. This thing is stuck on there, man. Whenever you order one of these parts, they're going to ask you for ID grooves. And here we see that it has 2 ID grooves on the gear itself all the way around. That's where you're going to tell your parts guy what you need. I have a good hard part supplier. Yeah, this is burned too. Burn as well. Fifth gear, fourth and fifth. But as you see here, these are not welded together, but you can see that there's smoke. Nice and smoke. Torque converter was blue. It was gone. Out of the way. Counter shaft just comes off. Let's take the differential off. It's a little heavy because it has double gears. He has the gear where the counter shaft rotates it, and then he has another gear where it rotates or spins the transfer gear. Heavy differential. And now you get your transfer gear. See how it is? Keep this together. Make sure you do keep it together. Otherwise, you're going to end up rubbing on the differential itself. Like that. You're going to create some problems. Go ahead and put this right here. Alright, let's go ahead and check our accumulators, our valve bodies. We got to check our pump. We got to, inspect everything. Alright. Take these 2 bolts off. This is where the fork goes up and down. That's what it does, like the click, 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 like a standard transmission. And it keeps it together. Go ahead and remove our filter. Filters get clogged up very easily. As you see, the filter is inside. It cannot be replaced unless you tear it apart, that we're doing right now. Go ahead and take our pressure regulator valve body off. This is where you do most of your updates to on the pressure regulator valve body. Either you drilled line to converter charge, or you put a Sonex pressure regulator valve, or you install a superior translab kit. main pressure regulator. This one goes stator shaft and arm. It goes to the torque converter. Alright, let's go ahead and just keep this guide pins, you know, where you know you're going to find them. Go ahead and remove the accumulator body. First and second accumulator body. It's a little stuck in there. There you go. This bolt is not really necessary to remove. There's check balls in there. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and take it off so you can see. You can see in there. There's a check ball and a fluid restrictor there. I just leave it on because I don't want to lose it. Whenever I'm cleaning it, I'll take it off, clean it, and then put it back on. Alright. This is our first accumulator. That's our second accumulator. And when I'm saying first and second, that means the shifts. First accumulator. Go ahead and take that off. You want to inspect it all the way around. It's nice and smooth. The bore, whenever you have a lot of metal, it gets all scratched up. Let's go ahead and remove our second accumulator. This is an aluminum accumulator and it looks okay in there. Alright. Now that we've inspected those two accumulators, we're going to keep it together so we don't have parts laying all over the place. Little snap rings back in there that hold the accumulators. And you might want to have your bolts together as well for the accumulator body, like so. That way you'll know where your bolts go and you won't have to be looking for them. I was going to mention, well, let me take this bolt off. It's kind of like a guide to know where the bolts go. Yeah, I'm going to take this bolt off. See how far up it went? Well, you get another bolt and then you put it like this. That way, this you can use it as a gauge to know where the bolt goes. Because they're all different lengths and sizes. You can use a 10 millimeter bolt as a gauge. See, I'm going to remove this one right here. Same thing here, as you see there. You can use it as a gauge. I know they're all different lengths, and then you'd be like, man, where is this bolt? This is real long, this is real short, and I mean, you get another bolt on Hondas. This only applies on the Hondas. It might apply it on most of the transmissions, but I mean, just so you know, it's just a tip of the day, as you may want to call it. All right. Go ahead and take our top accumulator body off. Go ahead and take the bolts off because we're going to flip it over. We have our fifth accumulator. Fifth accumulator. You know what? Let me lower the camera a little bit. I just noticed that I'm not catching everything. And you're kind of wondering, like, what the hell am I doing over here? Alright, so here's our fifth accumulator right here. Same thing. Kind of inspect in there. See how it looks. So we don't have parts all over the place. Let's go ahead and put our fifth accumulator back in there. Now we're going to have our fourth and our low hold accumulator here. Now this one, it's a little tricky. I'm going to get my blowgun. Just watch your screen. Cover your eyes if you see fluid shooting over there. Alright, I'm going to put air into this hole. All right. We got the low hold accumulator on the top, and then we have our fourth accumulator on the bottom. The low hold accumulator goes all the way to the bottom, and then the fourth accumulator goes on top of the low hold accumulator. Same thing on the bolts. We got 1, 2. We'll figure them out later. Let's go ahead and see how they're all different lengths. But whenever you try to bolt them up, that's where you're gonna have to probably use that tip, or don't take them off, and just keep them together with the accumulator, just like I left it here, together with the accumulator. Wash it with the accumulators and the bolts and everything as one section. Wash this with the bolts and the accumulators as one section. Wash that one like that. That way you won't lose track of the bolts. Some of you were asking me, you know, how can you kind of organize yourself? Well, you kind of do it that way on Hondas, at least. Keep them all together. Even experienced technicians like me, I mean, sometimes we get brain farts and we're like, man, where did this go? So we're humans. Everybody's human, so everybody gets those type of mind goes blanks all of a sudden. Okay, the linkage. It goes on like that, right? So I took the pin off so I can get it off. And then you have your manual valve that goes into the valve body. This is your manual valve. Try to keep the springs and the pin and everything together. I know I'm putting it over there in a pile. I mean, that's just a habit I have. That's the way I work. Alright. 5-speed takes 2 check balls here, 1 check ball on this side, and 1 check ball with the spring on top. Here's a little spring. Let's go ahead and remove the valve body. The TC check valve is going to probably slide down. It's going to stay in there. This is the TC check valve. Sometimes this gets real stuck and the board becomes oblong a little bit. There is a Sonex updated TC check valve for that. Here's a little spring that I was talking to you about. 2 check balls, 1 here. See this little big square right here? And it goes right next to the square. Here's a thimble screen, a filter. The filter doesn't look restricted. And here's the other check ball, and this is where the spring goes, right there. Don't lose none of these parts. Almost did it. Man, I'm sweating all over the place. 2 check balls and 1 spring. Keep them together somewhere that you know that you're not going to lose them. The pump, inspect the pump. It looks in real good shape. Sometimes it gets warped. You use a depth gauge to check it out. There's probably going to be stuck valves in here. I'm not going to check the valves. I wanted to check the accumulator bores to see how they look. Sometimes it's more cost effective just to get another core that has clean fluid in it and just rebuild another core. We know for sure that we're going to need bushings. We're going to need 2 of the drums are just extremely burnt up. Let's see what's going to happen with this thing. And the smell, man. I don't know, it just stinks bad. It stinks really, really bad. Kind of makes you hungry. Alright, so we have a another basic teardown of a Honda Acura unit. This is on an Acura MDX, and it was a BGHA. BGHA off of a 2003 Honda MDX all-wheel drive or 4x4, completely smoked. Alright guys, I hope that you guys enjoy this video. Man, look at that. And if you're not subscribed yet to my channel, click the like and subscribe. And whenever new videos, I film new videos like this, you know, or basic short videos with tips and stuff like that. If you're subscribed, you're going to be notified, and you're going to be one of the first ones to watch the videos. Thank you for watching. My name is Hiram, and subscribe.